Welcome to How to Survive, the show that teaches you how to survive the stuff that can kill you.
Like throwing knives with your brain. Or the bugaloos. Or Facebook.
And the stuff that just makes you wish you were dead.
Like cheap dolls. And election day. And Facebook Marketplace.
You know what, Danielle?
What, Christine?
Let's play the theme song.
Let's do it.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Goblin down, Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. How to survive. How to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive.
Hello.
When you're listening to this, hopefully
You know who the president is.
you know who the president is.
It's so-
in our world,
We don't
it's election
know.
day.
It's so weird because people are listening and they know.
And
what's-
we don't.
and
It's
we
like they're in
don't.
on it. It's like they're gaslighting us.
It is.
Right?
Our
It's a big
listeners
prank.
Yes.
are pranking. Our listeners are George Clooney.
Oliver, he had a play all weekend. The Crucible went up. So they did it Wednesday, Friday, 2 shows Saturday. And it was really good. Like we were shocked at how good it was. And he was really good.
That's
and he
awesome.
had so many lines.
I bet.
He was just worried. Like he told me I knew he was the judge, so I just thought it was going to be like a traffic cop sort of role where it's like, but it was actually very moving and like he's a bad guy, and it was. I didn't know he could do drama. I was very
Does
impressed.
he like acting?
He does, yeah.
I could see him being very good.
I don't think he wants to do it professionally, but
Yeah.
but he wants
It's
to
in
make
his- it's
movies,
in his-
and
it's in his bones.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could be in the things he writes.
Yes.
And directs if that is indeed what he ends up doing. But yeah, I was like very impressed. So that was very cool. Yeah. And then so 2 nights ago, Jimmy was out. So Oliver and I watched Carrie because we've never seen it before.
You watched Carrie?
The original.
The original.
You?
It's terrible.
Is it?
It is not a good film.
I don't remember because I saw it, guys, when I was 9.
Oh boy, that's too much.
And then my dad was coming to pick me up and for a visit and came in and that was on. And he was like, I don't think your sister should be seeing this. And my brother said, I don't think it's any of your fucking business.
Wow.
Interesting. Wow. So then did you see the end?
I think I didn't because I think I left with my dad because I was little.
Holy
but
shit.
like that's sort of what that movie,
Wow.
I remember just being like, this is really uncomfortable.
Well, I'll tell you why else it's really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because there's a long scene at the beginning where they're all the girls are in the locker, all walking around naked. You know, like you do in high school.
Yes.
Did you ever walk around naked
No,
in
no,
high
of
school?
course not.
Of course
In a
not.
bathroom stall.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Nobody's showing any parts of their
They were
bodies.
all- okay, so when I say full bush, I'm talking like I didn't even remember that there was that much hair. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
So and they're supposed to be high school students. So
Yes.
it's like, why are we looking at this? It's gross.
It's also for that time period what they were
Totally
doing.
normal. I get
Yes,
that.
Yes,
but
yes.
then okay, so that part I could almost forgive. Then Carrie is in the shower,
Mm-hmm.
Sissy Spacek, and there's all these up close shots of her rubbing her chest, and she's naked.
So it's gratuitous. Just to
But it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just are you sexualizing? It just doesn't make any sense for what the movie is about.
yes, because it's also horror and like why is like there's a chance for us to gratuitously
But it's
show a
not
body.
it's not like in Psycho where it's like I don't know, I can't explain it except that it has nothing to do with what's about to happen.
Is this Brian De Palma?
Yes.
And isn't
not
he
a good director.
kind of known for okay,
Schlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so then there's that. And then there's just the fact that it just doesn't make sense. I'm sure the book is good,
I remember thinking the book was great.
I believe that is accurate.
but you can tell like there's a whole act missing in the movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just goes from one thing to the next thing and you're like, huh? What? This is the funniest part.
Yes.
Edie McClurg is in it. Okay? She's a high school student.
Yes.
So I go, Oliver, what year is this movie? He says 1976. I go, so 10 years later, she's playing a middle-aged lady in Ferris Bueller? What
Yes.
the fuck?
Yes.
Like, how old was she when she did Ferris Bueller? Don't you
Katie
think of her
McClure.
as like a middle-aged
Yes.
lady?
Yes.
Her instrument is very powerful. She can play
So
any.
funny.
That's
It
ridiculous.
was so, I mean, I guess they're all probably older than
Of course, yeah.
I would
18.
love somebody to cast. Is she dead?
I don't think so.
Cast her as a high school student.
Oh my God, it was
Today.
so funny. I was like, how is Edie McClurg in this? Before we get in, I just want to recommend 2 other
Yes.
documentaries.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so this one is called The Remarkable Life of Ibelin.
Oh, I heard about this. I read about this in the New York Times. And I was like, this sounds so interesting. You saw it.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I cried throughout the whole thing. I'm just
Okay.
going to warn you, it's intense. It's sad.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also hopeful in a certain way.
Okay.
And it also gave me insight into the world of online gaming because
Okay.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
So it was pretty. You know about
Now,
this?
This is about yes.
I don't want to
World
say
of
what it's about,
Warcraft.
but
Yeah,
yes, it
okay.
has to do with the World of Warcraft, and it's really incredible.
Yeah.
Well done, very humanizing. So I recommend that.
Okay.
So then on the other hand, Jimmy and I were trying to find, because Oliver kept being out for these shows and a party, and now he's
Yeah.
homesick, of course, because he was partying too hard. So I told Jimmy my new stance about I'm not going to watch any documentaries that are just fluff and stupid. And he says, well, does that include cults? And I said, no. I will always watch a cult documentary,
Cults are always on the table.
no matter what. So we found a really good one.
Okay.
This that you might actually relate to a little bit.
Oh.
It is called Breath of Fire,
Okay.
and it is about Kundalini Yoga.
Yes. I've done some Kundalini.
And didn't you teach at Golden Bridge?
I did not teach at Golden
Oh,
Bridge,
okay.
but Golden Bridge was not far from the studio where I did teach.
Okay.
And those people were wackadoodles.
Yeah, so you're going to love this.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
There's only been 2 parts released so far.
Yeah.
So we haven't finished it. But it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Why are
fucking
there
crazy.
So many yoga cults.
Right? I know, this is
There
the
are
second
a lot
one.
of them.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot, you know why? Because there's a lot of money to be made in wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quote unquote wellness.
Yes.
Also, like, it seems to be mainly breath and not exercise at
Yeah,
all.
it's a lot of breath stuff, and I couldn't do it because it would make me get pass outy. But also,
Same.
I want to ask you guys to watch a documentary that
Okay.
I want to see. I don't think it's fluff, only because, for one, I find Martha Stewart very fascinating. She has a documentary out, and she gave this scathing review of her own documentary to the New York Times that made me laugh so hard because she complained about it.
Yeah.
And usually, the review of it of herself was so funny that now I want to watch it.
So, did she participate
Yes,
in the
she
documentary?
fully participated, but then she was mad about
How it was edited?
some of the things he used, and it was. I'll send you guys the review
This keeps happening with famous people.
because she was like, first of all, he should have used rap music because that's what I like, and he didn't. And then also at the end, he shows me hunched over, walking in my garden like I'm lonely, and I'm a lonely old woman, and I'm not. Also, I had torn my Achilles, and that's why I was hunched over using a cane. I am not that woman. I work 8 hours a day, 7
Right.
days a week. So she was mad that it showed her looking frail.
Right, I get
basically.
that.
So I've also heard from 2 friends that it's just interesting and inspiring and fascinating and showing
Okay.
her sort of her rise, and that it's a good documentary. So I want to watch it. Do you have more recommend?
No, I was just going to say, I was about to watch it, and then I
Yes.
realized I have no interest in Martha Stewart, so I'm not going to watch it.
I do have interest. I will watch it, and
Yeah.
then I'll tell you
If
if
it's- okay.
if I'll say you should watch it anyway, or I'll say if you can skip it.
Okay, we should probably get
Hey,
started.
I don't have a good segue,
That's okay.
but it is election day,
Yes.
and people are going to be glued to the news
Yes.
And their bongs.
and their bongs and
Yeah.
their and maybe their booze.
And they're Jack and Diet Cokes.
I'm gonna be-
just for example.
For example,
Par exemple.
None of these relate to anybody in particular.
no. So I want to talk about a place where a lot of people get their news, and they probably shouldn't, and that's Facebook.
Gotcha.
How to survive Facebook.
Fantastic.
But do we need to survive Facebook, guys? Does Facebook kill people?
Oh,
Well, let me tell you some information.
okay.
Okay. In its annual Global Risk Report for 2024, the World Economic Forum ranked misinformation and disinformation as the most severe global threat anticipated over the next 2 years.
Okay.
So, I don't know. That sounds kind of bad, right?
What year was that?
I was going to say, wait,
Was
I'm
that
just going to say the
2022?
exact same thing. What year was that?
2024?
Oh, okay. So we're like, it's already done.
We're in it.
So
So we're
we're like,
supposed
this
to be
must have
done
been from
with
2
it
years
today.
ago.
Over the next 2 years. So we're in it. We're in it right now, guys.
I thought this was the end.
Okay. So this is interesting, I think, and I don't remember him saying this, but in 2021, during the height of the pandemic, President Biden said that Facebook and other social media platforms were killing people. He then backpedaled on his remarks, and then Facebook came out and said, actually, we have a study that shows our users show an increasing vaccine acceptance.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but not really, right?
Right.
Okay. So researchers from Northwestern, Harvard, Northeastern, and Rutgers actually show that Facebook plays a role in COVID-19 misinformation.
Yes.
Okay. So these researchers, they're careful to not say that Facebook is actually killing people. They'll say that those who use Facebook for COVID news have much lower vaccine rates than the overall population.
Right. Now, can I ask a question?
Yes,
And
please.
This might throw us off a little bit. When people say, like, I get my news from Facebook or I get my news from Twitter, are they links to articles or is it like a meme? Or, you know what I'm saying?
I
Or is
think
it maybe it's both?
It maybe is both,
Okay.
right? So these people also have much lower levels of institutional trust and greater acceptance of misinformation. So according to these researchers, Facebook was a significant source of COVID-19 news. 3 in 10 people reported visiting Facebook in the last 24 hours to find news about COVID-19. Researchers asked respondents whether common COVID-19 misperceptions, such as if vaccines alter people's DNA or contain microchips to track people, were factual. Respondents who exclusively used Facebook were more likely to believe the false claims,
Right.
with 22% believing at least one of those things.
And don't forget that if you're in a room with someone who is vaccinated, you might go sterile.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah. Women, if you're in a room with a woman who has been vaccinated, it can screw up your, I don't know if you can go sterile, but it can screw up your menstruation.
Wow.
Yep.
This result was on par with people who only watched Fox News.
Yeah.
That's the same percentage, or 21%, and much higher than those who relied on multiple news sources. That percent was only 7%. Okay. So I'm done talking about COVID.
Okay.
Well, wait,
I think.
Then let me interrupt with this really quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, that somebody used me in an anti-vaccine Facebook post.
What?
Yeah, I got a
You're
DM.
the face of anti-vax?
What I think I posted on Instagram one day that I was having that pericarditis thing again.
Yes.
Oh.
And somebody found that post
Yeah.
and then went back through to where I got my vaccine.
Oh.
And they made a meme of me and posted it to their private hidden anti-COVID-19 vaccine Facebook group.
Oh, no.
Somebody from that group DM'd me
Oh, good.
and said, hey, I don't know who, I don't even remember what she said, but basically they're using you for this. And she sent me a screenshot of it. I could probably find it. But I was like, oh, this is insane. Like, don't get the COVID-19 vaccine. Look what happens. This guy got, I'm like, you don't have permission to use me for any of this shit. What are you doing?
Yes.
And I couldn't get in because it's private. So they wouldn't like accept
Wait,
me.
was it on Instagram or Twitter? Or?
It was on Facebook. It was in a
on
Facebook group.
and you couldn't, and
Because
It was
it's a private group.
So
yeah, but I
can't-
know, but you can't complain to Facebook
I
about it?
complained to their mods, like everybody in charge of that group.
Yeah.
I was like, you delete this or I'm doing, I don't know what I was going to do. Probably
And
nothing.
did they?
As far as I know, they did.
All right, guys, I'm going to give you some other issues of Facebook. Okay. So we had the mass data collection and privacy invasion by Cambridge Analytica. Let me remind you of what that was.
Oh, yes.
So this is the data analytics firm that worked with Donald Trump's election team and the winning Brexit campaign. They harvested millions of Facebook profiles of U.S. voters in one of the tech giant's biggest ever data breaches and used them to build a powerful software program to predict and influence choices at the ballot box. So Cambridge Analytica, a company owned by the hedge fund billionaire Robert Mercer and headed at the time by Trump's key advisor Steve Bannon, used personal information taken without authorization in early 2014 to build a system that could profile U.S. individual voters in order to target them with personalized political advertisements. Okay?
Right.
So they exploited Facebook to harvest millions of people's profiles, and they built models to exploit what we knew about them and target their inner demons.
Was
right?
this legal?
Legal?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Facebook does not have a lot of privacy protections.
Okay.
So how about the Russian interference during the 2016 presidential election?
Right.
So Russian operatives lied to get into the U.S. as early as 2014 on intelligence gathering missions. They traveled across the country to get the lay of the land and then to ramp up their efforts to try and interfere with American politics, right? So by September 2016, 2 months before the U.S. presidential election, the Internet Research Agency, also known as the IRA, that's the Russian intelligence agency, was working with an overall monthly budget that reached over $1.25 million. It employed hundreds of employees, a graphics department, a data analysis department, a search engine optimization department, an IT department, and a finance department.
Jesus.
According to an indictment filed last year by Robert Mueller's team. This wouldn't be last year. This was, sorry, I don't know what year it was.
Oh, that's okay.
And it hasn't stopped. Okay, remember that. So Facebook says the IRA may have reached as many as 126 million people. Okay, so Jared Kushner said during this interview at one point, well, those Russian operatives only spent $160,000 on Facebook ads. I spent that in 3 hours. on Facebook ads, right? But as to the amount of money on the ads, the IRA, yeah, sure, they spent less than $200,000 on advertising on the platform, but that doesn't account for the organic content they created and shared.
That's what I thought it was more of.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know that that's what makes the big difference, right? When they're pretending to be people and reaching out and making real relationships.
This happened to my brother or whatever the fuck it is, or this is what the presidency under Hillary Clinton would do or whatever.
They're authoring their own posts, memes, and other content as they posed as American users.
Right.
Okay. Let's get out of that. How about Stop the Steal groups on Facebook helped facilitate the January 6th Capitol insurrection? That was a large part of why that happened. Those groups organized and enabled that to happen because of Facebook.
Gotcha.
All right, next. The Myanmar genocide.
Okay.
So members of the Myanmar military were the prime operatives behind a systemic campaign on Facebook that stretched back half a decade and targeted the country's mostly Muslim Rohingya minority group. So human rights groups blame the anti-Rohingya propaganda for inciting murder, rapes, and the largest forced human migration in recent history. This is, I find, very fascinating. I didn't know as much about this. So I want to talk about the Facebook whistleblower, Frances Haugen. So
sounds familiar.
She's this brilliant woman who's an engineer and a scientist. And right out of school, Google was like, you're hired, right? Okay. So they paid for her to get her MBA at Harvard. And while she's at Google /going to Harvard, getting her master's, she was like, I'm going to invent a dating app. That went on to become Hinge.
Wow.
And then she went to Yelp and then to Pinterest. And then in 2019, she goes to Facebook because a close personal friend became radicalized. And she was like, you know what? I feel like I could actually make Facebook better.
Okay.
So
she became radicalized through Facebook, so she was inspired to
her friend,
go there and fix it.
She was like, you know what? I want to fight misinformation that's spreading on Facebook. So she goes to Facebook and she gets hired and joins their civic integrity team.
Okay.
So that's their whole thing is like, we're here to try to make Facebook better. After the 2020 elections, they dissolved the team. And she becomes very disillusioned with Facebook because she sees what she calls a continued pattern of Facebook putting profit over public safety. So she leaves Facebook in 2021 and contacts a law firm called Whistleblower Aid, and they reach out to Congress.
Okay.
And so they file 8 complaints with the Securities and Exchange Commission by Haugen's attorneys. And then the Wall Street Journal publishes multiple of these complaints as well, including how Facebook deals with political misinformation, hate speech, teenage mental health, human trafficking, the promotion of ethnic violence, preferential treatment of certain users, and its communication with investors. So let me see, I put that twice.
So this is when, what's his face?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg testified before Congress. Is that what this is about? Oh, okay, not yet.
Not yet. So yes, the Facebook files, that's what's published in the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
These are 9 reports, okay? And it's also covering the algorithm changes, their drug cartels, vaccine misinformation, if I didn't mention any of that yet. This is, yes, 2 Senate hearings in front of the United States Senate Commerce Committee subcommittee on consumer protection, product safety, and data security.
Okay.
So she also testifies before this committee. And then they publish her opening statements. You can read those if you want. She states during the hearing, the company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people. Congressional action is needed. They won't solve this crisis without your help. And she further discussed Myanmar and Ethiopia and states that Facebook is literally fanning ethnic violence.
Wow.
She also talks about how Instagram's algorithm plays a role in making body image issues worse for teens. She says Facebook has confirmed that Instagram users can be led by the algorithm to eating disordered content. And she says remedying the effects of negative social comparison that teens experience while using the platform will require larger measures than just removing likes. And basically, what Facebook does purposefully is amplifying divisive content on the platform. It wants to take you to more divisive content.
Right.
And they've done this purposefully. Mm-hmm. So they've actually had experiments with Facebook where they've had fake people go on as like a conservative. And after like a few likes of just kind of like innocuous content, they're taken to like very far right hate speech kind of stuff. So they know their algorithms are doing this. Okay. But they aren't doing anything to change it.
So when you said that in 2020,
yeah,
it was dissolved. The ethics part of Facebook was dissolved.
Yes.
So Trump was elected in 2020. Didn't take office till 2021. Did they say why Zuckerberg dissolved that? Okay.
They do not. I'm going to tell you, how can Facebook be better? Would you like to know that?
Yes.
Okay. So in January of this year, the Senate had a hearing in which they yelled at CEOs on Facebook, Discord, TikTok, and Snap. Legislation is currently going through Congress, which aims to hold social media companies to account for material on their platforms. So behind the 5 tech bosses sat families who said their children had self-harmed or killed themselves.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was
result-
laughing because I thought you were saying, when you said behind the 5 tech, I thought you were saying like mafia speak, the 5 families. So that's what
It feels like that. Yeah. So as a result of social media, right?
Yeah.
So Mark Zuckerberg turned and apologized to the families at the behest of Senator Josh Hawley.
Whoa.
Yeah.
If Josh Hawley is shaming you,
right,
you're in trouble.
You're a fucking bad person.
Did Mark Zuckerberg actually turn around, or just his head?
Just his head spun.
Because that man is a reptile.
Do you want to know if Facebook has compensated any of these families for their losses?
I'm guessing no.
No, they have not. It was interesting because I watched the first part of this documentary last night called The Facebook Dilemma on PBS because I'm a dork. And he was being interviewed by this journalist who I really like, and I can't think of her name right now, of course. And she said, do you think Facebook, it was like, do you think Facebook is respecting the privacy of its users, or is an invasion of the privacy of the users, or something along those lines? And he started sweating so profusely that he had to like take off his sweatshirt, and like he couldn't.
He didn't know that question was coming.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was wild.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's so worth watching just to see that.
I do want to. I'm sorry. What is it called again?
It's called The Facebook Dilemma.
Okay.
It was made in 2018.
Yeah, I remember when it came out.
But it's still worth watching.
Because nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. It's only
only
gotten
gotten
worse.
worse.
So, okay, so what can be done to make Facebook better? So I read this opinion piece in the LA Times by two tech experts, I'm going to call them. One is the former CEO of Reddit, Ellen K. Powell, and one is Annika Collier. She's a senior fellow at the Tao Center for Digital Journalism at the Columbia Journalism School. She's also a former senior policy official at Twitter and Twitch. So these are people who know what they're talking about. They both helped develop and enforce some of the most consequential social media decisions in modern history, including banning revenge porn on Reddit and banning Trump on Twitter. So
Wow.
they've made some things happen.
Great.
They've seen firsthand how well it has worked to rely entirely on self-regulation for social media companies to moderate their content. Not well at all. Their words, not mine.
Yes, self-regulated.
Yeah, so they compare unregulated social media to having an unregulated flight industry. So they say, imagine if we didn't track flight times or delays, or if we didn't record crashes and investigate why they happened. Danielle's allergic to what I'm saying right now.
Well, because you said flight, peanuts.
Yes, exactly. It's all tracking. Imagine if we never found out about rogue pilots or passengers and those individuals were not blacklisted from future flights.
Right.
So, similar to the National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration, there should be an agency to regulate American technology companies.
Okay.
Congress can create an independent authority responsible for establishing and enforcing baseline safety and privacy rules for social media companies. Reining in social media harms is a difficult task, but we need to start somewhere, and attempts to ban platforms after they've already become hugely influential, as some U.S. lawmakers are trying to do with TikTok, just set up an unending game of whack-a-mole. Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Okay. In the meantime, how do you keep yourself safe?
Well, you either aren't on Facebook.
Well, that's what I say. You could leave Facebook and social media,
Yeah.
right? If you want to stay on Facebook, how do you not contribute to its ills? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is keep your kids off social media.
Right.
13 is the age of social media apps require, but average kids get a phone is 10 years old, and 50% of those
Jesus.
kids will be on social media within 6 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just have to check a box that says I'm over 13. I mean, who's not going
They're
to
not
do
asking
that?
for a
Like,
birth certificate.
right.
So what do you do? Experts say wait until 8th grade at a minimum for social media.
Oh, that's the worst time.
I know it is the worst
I mean,
time.
Jesus.
They need to change the wait until the
Oh
8th,
my
because that's
God.
research shows that 10 to 14-year-old girls are hit hardest by this. This expert says I would wait until 15, 16, but that has just seemed less and less realistic for a lot of
Yeah.
parents' lives and kids' lives. But I'm like, why are parents stop giving into this pressure
Right.
of like, well, all their friends have it. Just
Right.
fucking say no. I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I sound like an asshole, but like, you're in charge.
Yeah, no,
You
exactly.
are in charge. Say no. It's for your kids' mental health.
Yes, absolutely.
You must say no. This is so dangerous. Okay, here's another really easy way that you can protect yourself from. You can survive Facebook. Don't get your news from Facebook. It's not a trustworthy news source. Okay, it is definitely misinformation. Got 6 times more clicks on Facebook than posts containing factual news. It's working.
Yeah.
Misinformation accounted for the vast majority of engagement with far-right posts, 68%. Okay, so that's where that's what's radicalizing people. Do not get your news from Facebook.
Right.
Facebook.
And if you do,
Yeah.
check the source.
Yes.
Always check the source.
Yes.
I'm pretty, you have to be, what is it called? Media literate or
Yes.
journalistically literate.
Yeah.
And like I was doing research for our next show and I was on a site and I was like, wait a second, what is this? Because I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. This is not a neutral site I'm on.
And I'm going to give you some ways you can check.
Great.
Okay. As a news distributor, Facebook has a uniquely thorny record. Okay. A 2023 study found that frequent Facebook users were more likely to consume misinformation than users of other platforms. Further, researchers in a 2023 study found that it was the incentive structure of the platform itself, not individual user behavior, okay? That was the blame for the spread of misinformation. Okay, Facebook's algorithm is designed to reward and prioritize the sharing of incendiary content. Okay, so what if you're a person who's like, I don't trust the New York Times. or your city's local paper. I'm going to say, first of all, that's dumb. Okay.
Well-
I think that's dumb, but okay.
Yeah.
I'll play along. I'm going to give you. Do you want to say something about that?
No.
Okay. I'm going to give you ways to vet your information.
Great.
So you have some websites for fact checking. Factcheck.org. Mm-hmm. PolitiFact. Mm-hmm. And Snopes.
I was going to say, whenever I hear something,
Yeah.
it's usually not political. It might be something less.
That's
intense.
a rumor. Yeah, like Snopes is for
I
good like
definitely
checking
go
rumors.
to Snopes.
Yes, and PolitiFact is checking political claims.
Yeah.
Fact check is factual accuracy by major U.S. political players. Media bias. So these are really great websites for checking for media bias. If you're like, well, I don't want some left liberal newspaper. A lot of
Right.
people worry about that. You can look up media bias fact check, and that every single newspaper is in there, and it tells you how accurate it is, how accurate its reporting it is.
Oh, good.
And if it's left leaning, right leaning, center leaning. So I looked up the New York Times.
Yeah.
It's center left.
Right.
A lot of papers, guess what? They're going to be center left.
Right, but I think what throws people off, or at least people on the left off, is that they'll have one or two conservative writers.
Yes.
Which fine. I mean, why not have a variety of opinions?
And
I
those
think
are
it's fine.
That's for op-eds.
Right, for op-eds, yeah.
Is not counted in the accuracy of reporting.
Okay.
Reporting should be
Right.
unbiased. But, you know, a lot of journalists are going to be liberal thinkers because it's right. Are you ready for some story?
So ready.
Listen to this. Snatch and grab, man. Adam Fox told an FBI informant in July of not this year,
Yeah, what year is this?
2020,
Okay.
I think. Grab the fucking governor. Just grab the bitch. Because at that point, we do that, dude. It's over. Fox from Michigan, along with 5 other men, formed an elaborate plan to kidnap the state's Democratic governor, Gretchen Whitmer, and put her on trial for treason, according to the FBI. Listen to this. The suspected participants were tied to a paramilitary militia group that called themselves the Wolverine Watchmen.
Cool.
So cool, man. Badass. WW.
Bitchin'.
The group was co-founded by Pete Musico and Joseph Morrison. The latter is considered the group's commander. An NBC News investigation into the suspects' social media profiles found links between their ideologies and those of the broader Boogaloo movement. Do you guys know about the Boogaloo movement?
It's funny. I remember them,
Yeah.
but it seemed to disappear. They were sort of with the Proud Boys and the something else, right? The Boogaloos.
Yeah, I think they're still around.
Weren't they Jam Sixers or no?
They're electric.
Yep, they're electric. They're, I think the Electric Boogaloo does not want to be affiliated with the Boogaloo movement. So
The Electric Boogaloo.
wasn't it a Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, that's right. I was thinking of the Marty Krofft, the Sid and Marty Krofft TV show.
That's like my shirt.
Boogaloos.
No.
No,
this is
That's Rock. Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
I got my references mixed up. The Wolverine Watchmen group recruited members on Facebook. Oh, see what I'm getting at, guys?
You said that like you forgot that that's what it was about. Oh, right. That's why I did
Oh,
this
that's
story.
what this. That's what I'm doing this for. Until June 2020, and that's when Facebook purged all Boogaloo-related material. But I guess what? I bet it's back.
Yeah.
I bet there's some Boogaloo groups lurking, probably pretending to be like hobby chicken farmers. But
Right.
you get in those
Trad
groups,
wives.
and then it's all Boogaloo all the time.
Right.
The chilling plot was a months-long effort that also saw members of a right-wing militia consider foregoing the kidnapping and instead executing Whitmer on her doorstep.
Wait, say that last line again?
Executing
No.
Oh,
The whole last sentence?
okay. The chilling plot was a month-long effort that also saw members of a right-wing militia consider foregoing the kidnapping
Oh, okay.
and instead executing Whitmer on her doorstep.
Gotcha.
The FBI document showed just how far along the men got in their planning and how credible the threat became against Whitmer, who had been considered for the role of Joe Biden's running mate. Okay, Whitmer has become a focal point of anti-government sentiment as anger over the coronavirus lockdown measures. So they
That's
were
right.
mad that they felt like she had gotten too strict in the coronavirus lockdown measures. These guys. One of the guys, this was in a different article I read about this kidnapping plot, was particularly mad that she had closed the gyms. And that was his reasoning behind wanting to take her down.
And she's a Democratic governor in a sort of red state, right?
Is Michigan red or is it purple?
I think it's purple.
Or is it like Ohio, which was
blue.
purple? Towards blue.
Yeah, because
okay.
it went blue It went blue last time, didn't it?
Did it go for Biden?
I don't remember.
What did Ohio do? Ohio went red, I think, because it was purple and now it's more red. Damn it. According to the affidavit, plotters twice surveilled the governor's vacation home and discussed blowing up a bridge leading to the house and using a boat to flee with the captured Whitmer. The plot continued to gather pace in October before the FBI arrested Fox, Barry Croft, Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta in a series of raids. This is Whitmer saying this. When I put my hand on the Bible and took the oath of office 22 months ago, I knew this job would be hard. But I'll be honest, I never could have imagined anything like this.
Of course.
It's kind of heartbreaking, right? You don't think,
It's totally heartbreaking.
half a dozen men or more are going to plot to kill you. These men faced federal charges over conspiring to kidnap Whitmer. This is an older article, so we already know how they've been punished, which I'll get to.
Okay.
While a further 7 men, each linked to a militia group called Wolverine Watchmen, faced state charges relating to Michigan's Anti-Terrorism Act. And sorry if I'm repeating a thing here or there. I kind of Frankenstein a couple different stories together to get us just the juiciest information possible.
Right.
I want to get you guys the juice.
The juice.
And by the juice, I mean OJ. He's dead.
Oh.
You know that, right?
I do. He's so dead.
R.I.P. Or not.
No.
Rest in
Hell.
torment.
Yeah.
R.I.T. Right?
Yeah.
Rest in torment.
Yeah.
The FBI affidavit provides a detailed look into how the plot to kidnap Whitmer developed through June, July, August, and September and shows how the men were doomed throughout. As an informant reported back to the FBI at every turn. That's good. We like these informants. Okay.
Yeah.
So Croft and Fox were among those involved after they became convinced that Michigan was one of several states violating the U.S. Constitution. Whitmer had become a hate figure among the right wing through spring when she was among a number of state governors to issue stay-at-home orders in an attempt to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
How dare she?
She's trying to keep people safe. And that is wrong. In April, thousands of protesters, many armed, besieged the Michigan State Capitol in Lansing to demonstrate against Whitmer's order. The protesters chanted, "Lock her up," a common refrain used by Trump supporters towards Hillary Clinton in 2016, and Donald Trump seemingly offered his support, tweeting, "Liberate Michigan,"
oh, boy.
on April 2017. It was against this backdrop that the FBI picked up on plans to attack the Michigan State Capitol. At a meeting on June 6th, Croft, Fox, and more than a dozen people from several states discussed creating a society that followed the U.S. Bill of Rights and where they could be self-sufficient. Croft, and so these are all from all over states. So the way they're able to do this is through Facebook. Croft and Fox decided they needed to increase their numbers and contacted a militia group led by Garbin. From there, plans to attack the Capitol began to escalate. Fox asked to join forces with Garbin, and at a meeting in Dublin, Ohio, Fox said he needed to recruit 200 men to storm the Capitol building and take hostages, including Whitmer.
Huh.
So
this is a separate thing from the Boogaloos.
Well, I don't know if Boogaloos are involved. Like, I don't sort of know.
But this is a separate plot because one was to kidnap her. This is to storm the Capitol.
Well, I think this is what's earlier, yes.
Yeah, okay.
If successful, the group would have tried Whitmer for treason.
Tried? Like what, in their basement?
In their kangaroo court.
Right.
They intended to carry this out before the elections on November 3rd. The plan was more than just a pipe dream. So Fox held a business meeting in his business, a meeting in Grand Rapids to plan the attack. The attendees were required to hand over their cell phones and used a hidden trap door to reach a basement. They discussed how they would assault the state capitol and counter police.
Jesus.
They planned to use Molotov cocktails and destroy police vehicles. At the end of the meeting, which was recorded by an FBI informant who was there, who was wearing a recording device, the conspirators agreed to conduct firearms and tactical training over a weekend in July. In Cambria, Wisconsin, Fox, Croft, Garbin, Franks, and Caserta took part in combat drills. Over the weekend, the militia group attempted to construct 2 explosive devices using balloons, a fuse, and ball bearings, although neither device detonated because they're idiots.
Can't even do that right.
No, stupid dummies. By
We're like the bungalows.
Ha! You showed them.
Yep.
By mid-July, the plans were shifting away from an assault on the Michigan Capitol as the group homed in on Whitmer's vacation home. And the
okay. So it was
governor's
the same
official
thing. Got it.
summer residence. Yeah, so they're just kind of...
They're tweaking.
Yep, tweaking their plans. We're about to be busy, ladies and gentlemen. Fox posted to a private Facebook page. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked that ladies were included in this.
So, yeah, ladies like to get on the hate train. This is where the patriot shows up. Sacrifices his time, money, blood, sweat, and tears. It starts now, so get fucking prepared. On July 27th, Fox discussed his plan to snatch Whitmer with the FBI informant, and in August, one of the planners suggested taking the kidnapping plan further. Have one person go to her house, Harris wrote in an encrypted group chat. Knock on the door, and when she answers it, just cap her. In a follow-up chat, Franks wrote, okay, sounds good. I'm in for anything as long as it's well planned.
Well, he likes a plan.
Yeah.
The guy is efficient.
I'll do whatever, just make sure the planning is good.
Right.
The execution
Don't
plan...
get there and then you don't have the bullets
No.
or you don't have the zip ties. I'm not in
No.
if this is going to be some ramshackle
No.
band of misfits.
Is there a spreadsheet?
I want a spreadsheet.
Yeah. If there's not an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc,
I think that's how I would be, by the way.
I think you would too.
I had to explain to Oliver yesterday or whenever it was about how men don't think ahead. Mm-hmm. So you have to really because he was going to go to his after the party, after the play, they were going to all sleep over at a friend's house. The friend had a dog. He didn't have Oliver didn't bring allergy medicine. I had thought of all this, by the way.
Yes.
But then forgot to give him the allergy pill. But I was trying to explain to him that you have to think ahead.
Right.
But men really don't seem to do that.
Well, I think
But this guy, he's
yeah.
got my heart. This guy.
You guys could really get along.
Yeah.
Have you thought about joining a militia group?
I don't think I have. First of all, I feel like they're just going to eat stew.
Oh.
And
yeah.
I don't, it's going to be annoying if I'm is there chicken stock in that?
No, you're not going to forget about being a vegetarian in the militia group.
It's not going to work too well.
No.
And also, I don't love.
They're only going to eat stew is my favorite response to why you don't want to be in a militia group.
That is an SNL sketch waiting to happen.
Is there anything else
there
besides
anything?
stew?
Oh my God.
Nope. We've only got stew.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know what? You could all.
Rabbit in that?
They also
Yeah.
have a lot of jerky.
That's also meat. I can't eat
No,
meat.
I mean This is the main reason why you
This
can't
is
join.
the only reason.
The only reason is because
Yeah.
you won't be allowed to be a vegetarian. Other than that, you're in.
Also, I'm going to be cold. I probably have to be outside a lot.
You can get a lot of Carhartt gear, and that'll keep you warm.
Carhartt? What?
Garen knows.
Heavy clothing.
Carhartt. It's a brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The execution plan seems to have been set aside as the group instead discussed how to map out Whitmer's vacation home and how they would recruit people who could read blueprints to help refine the attack. Hey, anyone here can read a blueprint? We got to get somebody here who can read a blueprint.
Did you go to architectural school?
Is there anyone here who's got some community college, at least,
That's
to
amazing.
read a blueprint? Some of those arrested by the FBI continued to experiment with explosive devices and proposed hiring a demo guy for the heist. At the end of August, some of the conspirators conducted surveillance on the Whitmer's vacation home, taking photos and video footage as they discussed how many people would be needed for the kidnapping. Okay? They had a plan to escape from the Whitmer's property by boat. So they're getting close.
Wow.
Right? On October 8th, 2020, the U.S. FBI announced the arrests of 13 men suspected of orchestrating a domestic terror plot to kidnap American politician Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, and otherwise using violence to overthrow the state government.
Wow.
Some have labeled the attempt as an example of I don't know if this is stochastic terrorism or stochastic terrorism, which means where violent rhetoric by prominent figures inspired the plot.
Oh, wink, wink. We know who that is.
Yeah, we do know. So I wanted to share that story. I think we've all heard about
Yeah.
it, but I I was interested in kind of some of the specifics, and I thought it was fascinating just because so much of the planning of it was orchestrated on Facebook. And we know so many of these sort of far-right groups, whether it's plotting to show up at school board meetings or, this Myanmar stuff. Like, it's happening now on social media. So all of the sort of connectiveness that Mark Zuckerberg had hoped for, and the self-regulation of this good faith. He talks about this idea of like people's good faith, this good faith belief that people would be reasonable is not what we're seeing happen.
Right.
And so I think that's a really interesting thing we all need to really deeply consider as we exist on social media.
Well, thank you. That was a great story. So fascinating.
You're so welcome.
And we will be back right after this. Welcome back.
Hey.
I just ran out and voted.
Oh,
There's
good
no
job.
line at the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
You can go anywhere now to vote.
I did not know our bathroom was a polling place.
What I didn't realize until it was pointed out to me by my husband is that you don't have to go to just your polling place anymore.
You can go to any polling place?
No, but you can go to any within your... There's like multiple options. So where we're going today, we can walk to it.
I hope there's going to be dancing.
At the polling place?
Yeah.
You mean like...
Just
like
celebratory
a flash
dancing.
mob? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You didn't practice for your flash mob voting?
No, I didn't realize I had to.
check your spam for the invite. Your spam mail.
That's a good idea. It must be in my spam.
Steps are in there and everything. It's like a YouTube video. It's private, so nobody knows what's going to happen.
All right. My son's emails are now going to my spam. What do you think that means?
Why do you guys have a shared email address?
No. No, I mean, when he sends me something.
Ellen, Oliver@gmail.com.
Who says I'm too connected to my son?
Have your own email. when
Everything's
you turn
fine.
18.
I'll be fine when he leaves. Everything's fine. Jimmy was talking about, he's a senior in high school. Jimmy's talking about, well, I think when he goes, I mean, I definitely think it's your we should turn it into your office. And I'm like, stop talking. I don't want to hear about this.
This room will never change.
I'm going to
It's
preserve
preserved it.
I'm going to put it in amber.
You're going to put, what is it called? Mod Podge? Podge Modge?
Yeah.
Podge Modge.
It's Mod
Podge?
It's the brand.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
ModCloth?
ModCloth? No.
I'm going to stop talking.
I wanted to get a job at ModCloth where I just come up with the names of the sweaters and
Yes.
stuff, Have you ever been on Mod? I'm not talking to. Okay, this is a good time to introduce our guest. On the first half of the show, we talked about how to survive Facebook. And now we're also going to talk about how to survive Facebook with our guest, Hillary Ann Matthews. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, guys.
What was I asking before
You were saying, have I ever been on ModCloth?
have you ever been on ModCloth?
I have, yes. Actually,
So
somebody that I know worked there a long time ago.
Did she get
can
to
you-
write the descriptions of the
No.
club?
No,
Do you have a
yeah.
Can you get Danielle a job there writing descriptions?
You know, gosh, it would really be
They have, like,
a lot of
cutesy
favors,
names
but I could
for-
probably make it
yeah.
happen.
Okay, great.
Right.
Every favor
I think
you
you'd
have.
be really good at that.
Like, take me for a turnaround skirt. Like, they just have like
Yes.
weird names, and
It's
it
like
just
nail
seems-
polish, cutesy.
Yeah, it just
Danielle,
seems like
did
a
you
fun
just
job.
make that up?
Yeah,
We got to get
I know,
you this
right?
job.
See, I'm
I know,
good at
right?
it. I have a very limited skill set, but I think, unlike like Liam Neeson, I have a particular set of skills.
Yes.
But it's a very, very particular set,
Right,
and
instead
it's a
of
very, very small.
Rescuing teen girls, it's more about naming
Exactly.
cute skirts. Yeah.
Yes. I'm good with puns. Hillary is an actress. You should follow her on Instagram at Hillary Ann with an E Matthews, which we decided in the break was the proper way to spell it.
Really the only way.
It's not the only way.
Well,
There is ANN.
it legally should be.
It should be
the only
A-N-N-E.
way. They
Yeah.
should ban the other way. Or like only one ands that suck are named with the ANN.
Yeah.
And who's deciding that? I don't know. Us?
Yeah.
Too late to get it on the ballot this year, but maybe something. for the next round.
That is a ballot
Yeah.
measure in
I knew I
2028.
liked you.
Yeah.
Hillary,
Yeah.
you have your own story about Facebook.
Totally. I love bargains and I
Yes.
love sustainability. So I am all up
Yes.
in Facebook Marketplace and
Right.
Craigslist and, OfferUp.
Okay.
So what I'm bringing to the table today is how
Yes.
to survive a Facebook Marketplace pickup.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah.
Love it.
Now you're gonna have to walk me through it because I know basically what it is, but I've never actually done it. So
Totally. If you go onto your Facebook, there is a little thing to the side that says Marketplace. And
Okay.
You can click on it, and then it's all of these people posting things for sale or for free.
Okay.
And they'll be like, tea kettle, $150. And you're like, no. But sometimes it's people, the best is when it's like rich people who don't want to deal with this thing anymore. And then they're giving you like
great.
an incredible,
Yes.
an incredible deal on like this rug or whatever.
okay.
But also sometimes, and again, this is just a hypothetical situation, you might go to a rich person's house and she has completely misadvertised the rug, but you're not brave enough to be like, this looks really bad. So you ask for $20 off, and then you take it home and it's still in your living room.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that's
That could
happened to
happen
you. Okay.
to somebody who's a little too nice.
Totally. Yeah. A little too nice. Yeah. More work to do in therapy. But safety is a genuine concern for
Yes.
those pickups. So I definitely don't ever give my phone number out. It's a real
Good.
thing.
So you
And-
list things as well as buy things.
Yeah, I actually have never listed anything that I can think of on
Okay.
Facebook Marketplace. That might be a lie, but I don't think it is. I like to do Craigslist because I prefer that anonymity, truthfully.
Okay.
But I definitely have purchased on Facebook Marketplace. And you just try to be careful about the pickup, public places, meeting outside of your apartment. I like to give like a apartment number 2 doors down from mine.
Smart.
It's like smart until those people get murdered.
Yeah.
And then I have all,
It's like a couch, but you have to like drag it 2 blocks away.
yes,
because you didn't
yeah.
want it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like huffing and sweating and, pretend like everything is totally normal. But there was one time when I really got in too deep with the pickup.
Okay.
And it felt like it was kind of like a learning experience for me. I was trying to buy I actually don't know how it's pronounced, CESCA, Cheska or Seska chair. They're like, you've seen them. They have metal frames that kind of look like a boxy S, and then they have the rattan, like woven seats and
Okay.
backs.
I
They-
can't picture it, but I'm sure Sven knows.
My husband would know.
Yeah,
but
yeah. If you saw a picture, you'd be like, sure, one of those.
Okay.
But so this woman was selling a broken one. This is also so crazy to remember the specifics. A broken one.
Okay.
For, I want to say like $50.
Okay.
Okay.
And you would go, well, why would you spend $50 on a broken
Yes.
chair? And I'm like, because it's common to get the woven part replaced, and
Okay.
that was actually less expensive than a lot of the other ones that were being sold.
Yes.
Okay.
So
This is an indoor chair?
an indoor chair.
Okay.
Yes. So I
It sounds wildly uncomfortable.
actually it's
A
fine.
rattan seat
No,
and
it's
a
fine.
metal
Well,
back.
I have a cushion on mine now.
Okay,
So
okay.
I haven't ever.
Let's see this.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, my
one
husband
of
sells those at his store. They're very
Okay, cool. He has a store. Cool.
Yeah, he has
of course
a gallery.
I've seen that. Yeah.
He's-
Okay. Yes.
We had those in our first apartment. They're very stylish.
And how did you rate the comfort?
Fine. Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I basically like leap to message this woman who I'm going to call Joan. And
Okay.
she,
Definitely a Joan.
Definitely
Definitely.
a Joan. And we set up a time, and then she asks for a deposit. And I was like, that's...
For $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
never would I ever give money to somebody. That's just like way to get scammed.
No.
Yeah,
101.
yes,
exactly.
yes,
So
no.
I was like, I'm not in
Gonna
the
do
practice
that.
of doing that. Yeah.
Yes.
Like I was like, I think I actually just said I'm unable to do that, which is funny. 'Cause
Yes.
It's like no specifics. It's
Right.
like, how
Yes.
come? And she didn't like that, but I was like, I promise that, she's like, I've been having a lot of fall throughs. And I was like, I totally get it. I really am going to show up.
Right.
Also the location was listed in downtown LA, which is very close to me. And so I was like, this is great. When she finally gives me the address, like that Saturday, I kind of start driving without thinking about it. And then I realized that I'm going like up over UCLA.
What?
And I was
Wait,
like,
that's not
that's not
downtown
downtown.
this is
at
not
all.
at all downtown. No. And so that's another thing that happens on Facebook Marketplace, or even I think Craigslist. But it's like if you just say that your location is Los Angeles and you don't get more specific than that, you don't offer a
Right.
neighborhood, it will show downtown LA because
Okay.
that's just where the map will. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So so you were in downtown
I was
Westwood.
in Westwood, and
Yes.
that was like later on when I was being like, "Why did you just have this experience?" Like driving away, I was like, "Oh, because you thought that it was, in LA, and you thought whatever, and it just was not as presented." So I show up, and the garage door is open. Clearly, people are moving out of a house, and there's a woman, Joan, using a leaf blower in the garage towards the back of the garage. I stand at the front of the garage and I go, "Hi, Joan. Hi, hi. Are you Joan? Hi." I end up standing there trying to do that for probably, like, if I'm not exaggerating, I would say 2.5 minutes, like just of nonstop me being like, "Hi, hey." Just not wanting to terrify her because I'm
Yes,
really
right.
jumpy. I would really shriek in
Yeah.
that
Right.
situation. It was crazy. I think that I tried in the middle of it to like go back to my car and then like re-enter
Yes.
the scene. I was
You come back
really-
with the ghetto blaster. Just
Yeah.
making music.
yeah, say anything moment.
Yeah,
just
right.
Of a recording of me saying hi, Joan.
Right.
Anyways, it was crazy. Finally, she turns off the leaf blower and is nonplussed. She's like, "Oh, hi," and I was like, "Hi, I'm here for the chair." She comes up to me and we're chatting for a second. She says, "I'm cleaning out my mother's home. She passed away." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that's,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that." So, and I say to her like, "Oh, and you'd said 50. I think actually maybe she said 75 and I got her down to 50. That was also why I was so adamant about like, I got to go get this chair.
Right.
Yes.
Also because Joan thinks I'm a bad person who won't show up. I have to
Right.
prove Joan wrong.
Of course.
And so she then doesn't answer me and then is just scrolling. I can see her scrolling through our Facebook messages, reading everything
to
over.
make sure you said
While I just-
$50.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
stand there like watching. And finally she's like, "Yeah." And then I'm trying to figure out how I get into the house. I think she says, "We have some other things inside that we're getting rid of for free if you want to take a look."
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's exciting. I would be
Yes.
excited.
thank you for
Because you
saying
know
that
she has that
because-
chair. She probably has other good
Yeah.
stuff.
Totally. It is stupid to go into a house when you're by yourself
Yeah.
and you don't know.
With a woman? I don't know.
You have to
I
do a
wouldn't-
gut check, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"This is okay."
Yeah.
But and it was. But like, it's something that you, as a habit, you should
Yes,
get into
yes.
it.
I guess so. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Don't make it a habit.
Don't make it a habit. So I walk in, and I then. Like, I have been like, "Wow, Joan is really weird." And this is the moment of me crossing the threshold when I now become the weird one.
Okay.
So I walk into the house and I'm like, "Wow, this is incredible. This tile, incredible. Wow. Do you know what year the house was built by chance?" And she's like, no. And I was like, "Okay, it's just, I love what your mother did with these plants. That's amazing." Like, I begin to like overstay my welcome. She was like, "For sure, here's all this stuff." So then I'm like, I can't resist a free thing.
Yeah.
I've worked a lot to resist the free things in my life. I've gotten a lot better at it, but this was not one of my better days. So I'm going through it and I'm like, "Oh my God, these precious little salt shakers." And like, wow, like an ice bucket. Like, I don't have one of those,
Right.
Going through all this stuff, I'm getting it. And I was just there for so long. Like, for so long. And I think that there was finally...
You were just going over every little thing and
Kind
like
of, yeah, and just kind of like talking to them about like the house, and I was like, "Wow, like this is amazing." And there was like one moment where I said something to Joan that was like something like, "Oh my God, that light fixture is incredible," and she looked at me with this smile that said, "The light fixture is not for sale.
Oh no.
I'm not going to offer you the light fixture. You should probably get out of our home now." And I was like, "Absolutely." And I left like laden with all of these things, like, these like lovely like pots and like kitchen, implements, all these like really cool things. And but I really did walk away going, "Okay, you you became the weird one. And I think that's the best way to survive.
Yes.
A Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist pickup is like, if you're afraid that they're going to be the weird one and you're like, I'm concerned for my safety, it's subway rules. You become the weird one.
Yeah.
And
you
then
get scary.
out.
You
Yes,
get scary.
Yes, just out weird
I'm
them.
surprised she didn't just give you the chair for free to get you out of there.
Totally. And I had already paid her for it. Maybe that's why.
Okay.
How was the chair? Was it good?
Yeah, the chair's good. I did have to pay for the replacement, which wasn't that. It was more expensive than the chair itself.
Yes.
Right. Didn't you have a funny story about Facebook Marketplace?
Well, I had a different kind of Facebook Marketplace pickup in which I have sold on I've sold on Marketplace just a little bit. With some kids stuff my kids had outgrown, and I had put like some American Girl knockoff stuff because I wasn't going to buy American Girl doll for my daughter because she doesn't take care of stuff. You might not know this about my daughter.
U.S. lady.
It's called Our Generation. It's from Target.
U.S. lady.
U.S. lady. I mean, that's a pretty good name, Garen. And at some point, she had the salon chair for an American Girl, for an Our Generation doll. And it actually went up and down.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
And it even had a little belt to belt the doll in.
Oh my God.
And it came with all the hair. It came with a little blow dryer and a little comb and brush.
Heaven.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the doll, her hair, you could do a knob on her back and her hair would grow longer
get out.
or shorter.
I don't think American Girl dolls do that.
No way.
Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't last very long because her hair got so knotted.
And it wouldn't go back
you
in.
couldn't. I'm taking way too long for this, guys, but this is
that's
important.
okay.
We're in it with you.
Their hair got so tangled, and I went on all these like
doll was a they?
YouTubes. Yeah, the doll went by they.
So annoying. So Gen Z.
Look, so woke. These dolls
So
today,
woke.
they're Gen Alpha. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, enough.
They come out and they're like, "Don't you she me? I'm a fucking they. Don't you forget it." And you know what I do? I'm Gen X. I roll my eyes.
Yeah.
I roll my goddamn eyes at that.
Do you have a girl doll that you can turn it on and that rolls her eyes?
That
I
would be
wish.
good.
That's good. You should make that.
I'll tell you
I
what.
have a different career.
You know, when I was a kid, I had Skipper, and you cranked her arms, and her boobs grew, and that was a doll. Goddamn
Oh yeah,
it!
you raised her arm up. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Grow with me, Skipper.
Wow.
Not these days. You can't do that anymore. So
Oh God, toys.
you couldn't get that goddamn hair. You couldn't get the
Back in the head.
You couldn't get it back in the head. I couldn't get the knots out. I even went and bought this. It was like this woman on the internet was like, all you got to do is you got to get some this laundry detergent and soak the doll's head in laundry detergent and it'll come out. But it was like we only use like 7th generation eco laundry detergent. So I went and bought this like earth destroying like glowing blue laundry detergent just to soak this doll's head. And I soaked that doll's head in it for 2 days, and I like bought a special comb. I mean, I basically bought an American Girl doll with all the money I spent trying to get them.
God.
Anyway, back to the story.
Did it get out?
No.
Oh,
It was
no.
just this like mess
sorry.
of like, it was terrible.
Is this yours?
No, but I put, you don't even.
Put a lot of
You
work
do.
into
This is
your
what you
dog's
do.
doll.
Did you do this while she was still playing with it?
Yes.
Or when you went to go sell it?
Yes.
Oh, while she
After
was still
she
playing.
lost interest.
I played with those dolls more than she did. So anyway, she's done with the dolls, and it's time to pass the furniture on. So I was like, this chair is still in really good shape. I think I could get like $15 for it. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I got a ping, and I was like, oh, I think I sold it.
Yeah.
I open it up, and it's a man, and he says, "You're beautiful."
Oh, right. Oh,
Ew.
And I said, "I'm a chair."
that is the best. That is the best.
Oh my god, that is iconic.
So
That's my next gay Halloween costume.
There you
Yeah.
Is that.
I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Christine's chair? Facebook Marketplace.
What do you mean you're the beautiful chair rebuttal?
I'm an Our Generation salon chair.
Hillary, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
I
Thanks
loved
for
your
having
story.
me.
That's
Thank you so much
great.
for having me.
And we will be right back with What Did We Learn Today? Christine,
Danielle,
are you ready to learn what we learned today?
please?
You can say no to your kids. That's Chris's.
That's my advice.
That's your
my
advice every week.
That's my parenting advice.
Yeah. Verify the source of your information and news. It's very easy to be tricked into sharing or believing misinformation. Michigan has been traditionally blue, but did go red in the 2016 election. Ohio has been red in 4 of the last 6 elections. It went blue in 2008 and 2012.
Oh,
Okay.
for Obama.
The Cheska chair is a chair created in 1928 by Hungarian-American architect and designer Marcel Breuer. It consists of a tubular steel frame, a rattan seat, and backing. The design was named as a tribute to Breuer's adopted daughter Francesca, nicknamed Cheska.
Aww.
One of the original chairs designed by Breuer is held by the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York.
Very cool.
That is very cute. Cool. Chair created in 1928. God, it looks so 80s to me.
I think it was a very big thing in the 80s.
That's so interesting. They must have revived.
yeah.
And then that's why I think of it as, because when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's like something you'd have in the 80s.
Something
Yes.
interesting I did see is that I don't think he patented his design.
Oh no.
So it's why they're not
Knockoffs.
as maybe as valuable as you might think, because there's so many
Oh.
just different versions of the same thing because he never patented.
Oh, that hurts my
patented
heart.
it. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to pretend that he made some money some other way.
Well, he's in the Museum of Art, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
but not. What does that matter to him? He's dead.
Yeah.
Well, Cheska's happy about it.
If she's alive.
She
Yeah.
might be dead too. Wait,
If
1928,
he
she's
created
probably
it in
alive.
28, what?
She's probably still around. Cheska?
Well, if he named the
1928?
chair in 1928, that means she was born before 1928. So I'm going to guess no, she's not still alive.
Maybe she was born in like 1940 and he was like predicting he was going to name
If I ever
her
have a
Cheska.
daughter, I'm going to name her Francesca and call her Cheska. So I'll name this chair Cheska.
It's like how Trump named his fake PR man
John Barry.
John Barron years before having a child and naming him Barron. It's like that.
He probably just saw that name when that kid was born. Just he signed something John Barron was like, oh,
I think he
Barron.
thinks Baron sounds regal.
Yes.
Like a baron.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and John is his middle name, right? So he just was like, that's as far as his imagination goes.
yeah.
So he had named his first son after himself. I'm guessing the wife came up with Eric. And then he's like, oh yeah, remember when I used to call myself John Barron? I'm going to name the kid Barron.
That's our president, guys.
Oh,
2020.
hush your mouth.
Don't you
hush
say
your mouth.
that. I will
hush your
smack
mouth.
that
I
face.
literally just looked at Chris and felt the fear of God.
All right. Well, until next time.
Good luck, everybody.
She's not playing, as the
I
kids
am
say.
not. Well, guys, is that it?
Yeah.
I hope the next time we are all together, we will have our first female.
Yeah. Well, it's going to
President.
be tomorrow, so hopefully we'll know by then, but we might not.
Oh, you're right. It is tomorrow. We might
Yeah.
not know by then.
We'll
All
report.
right. Well, see you tomorrow. And until next time, remain calm.